Yo, what a transit. Hope you guys are having a great Sunday so far. And hey, thanks for coming back for week 2 of 4. Friends, we're talking about Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and how great friends they became and how they had each other's back in situations. Like last week, we talked about how Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they are faced with, eating this food that really defiled their faith and it wasn't really for them. And how Daniel had the courage to say no. And because Daniel had the courage to say no, that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego also had the courage to say no. It actually reminded me of a time where, I was faced with a situation that I didn't know if I could say no to. But because I had friends that were backing me up, reminding me about the promises I made to God, I was able to say no to it. Let me tell you this story. So real quick. So I was in grade 8, and we used to have these things called the YMCA All Ages Dance. Now, those were a good time. I mean, we would go there on Wednesday nights and just boogie, woogie, woogie. I know I'm an old man. I just said boogie, but it's true. We had a fun time. And one week, a YMCA decided they're going to move the dance from Wednesday to Friday. Now, back in the day, my youth group was on Friday nights. So there was a little conflict of interest because I loved going to, the YMCA and just dancing away. Like I was like, oh, that was like my spot. But I also loved youth group. I remember running to my friends, like, yo, are you gonna go to the YMCA dance this Friday? Like, it's gonna be popping. I heard there's a bunch of high school students are gonna be there. Like, ooh, I saw there's gonna be some cute girls. Like, come on, let's get there. Let's go. And my friends were like, Deniel, like, don't you know we have a youth group on Friday? Like, we can't go to this dance. Like, we have youth group on that Friday night. And I was like, oh, it's fine. We go to youth group every Friday. No big deal. Like, if we miss one Friday, like, God's not going to, strike us. No big deal. Like, I'd rather go to this dance where I know there's going to be some fun happening. Some high school students going to be there. Like, let's go to this dance instead. My friend's like, yo, Deniel, I don't know, last time we went to this dance, I don't know if you noticed, but there were some people in the corner that were doing some things that I know we shouldn't be doing. I swear I smelled some, drugs in the air or something. It was not a good scene. I'd rather go to youth group where I know it's going to be a good time overall, and I won't be tempted to, do things I know we should be doing. And I was like, okay, buddy, I get what you're saying. I get it. However, this is a dance on a Friday night. We're finally gonna be grown up. Let's go to this dance. He's like, hey, I just wanna remind you, do you think God would want us to do this? And I was like, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. Well, he's like, hey, I'm gonna go to this dance. I'm gonna go to the youth group, and hopefully you come to youth group with me. So I went home, and I was thinking about all this stuff that he was saying, and I was kind of upset, because I was like, why did you have to say that? I really wanna go to this dance. I wanna go to the youth group. But I was like, maybe youth group is the right choice. Maybe going to youth group is what I need to do. So we ended up going to youth group. And to be honest, it was a good time. It was probably the best youth group I've ever been to. The best night ever. So many laughs. The message was awesome. And it was just a good hangout time. And I remember hearing that the party got wild, that the dance had to get shut down early, and a bunch of stuff happened. And I was kind of glad that my friend reminded me that, youth group was a spot I should have been, because I'm glad that I was at youth group and not that dance. And today we're talking more about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and Daniel and some challenges that they were faced and how they dealt with it. So let's get into the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and what happened to them. So as a reminder, you know that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and Daniel were brought to Babylon from Jerusalem against their will, and they were forced to do things that kind of didn't set well with them. And one of those things that they were asked to do was bow down to a 90-foot golden statue and worship it. I mean, whenever they heard this music, that probably sounded like this. They had to stop what they're doing, go to the statue, and bow down. Now, King Nebuchadnezzar, he wasn't playing. He was like, yo, if you don't bow down to this statue, I'm going to take you and throw you into some hot, fiery furnace. I mean, this thing is hot, scorching hot, super duper duper hot. And I was like, oh man, I couldn't imagine if I was in that situation. Like if I was there and I was told that I need to bow down to the statue or go into a hot furnace, I don't know what I would choose. But what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did next was absolutely amazing. King Nebuchadnezzar heard that these three Jewish boys decided that they were not going to bow down to the statue because they knew that God has told them that they should not bow down to any other idol. They should stay true and only worship the one true God, which is him. So King Nebuchadnezzar called them, was like, hey, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, which they probably was like, Shaddy, Ratty, Abendi, I don't know. He was like, come to me right now. So I heard that you guys aren't going to bow down to the statue. I'm gonna give you one last chance. I need you to bow down to the statue right now in front of me in this moment. And listen to what they said to the king. You can find it in Daniel 3, verse 16 to 18. It says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of the gold you have set up. Can you imagine the faith and courage that it took them to stand up to the king that way, to talk to the king that way? Whew, I'm sweating because, guys, I don't know. Like, that is intense. Like, they basically said, one, we're not going to do this. I'm sorry, king. Like, it's not going to happen. And then two, is like, we won't regret not doing this. We are confident. We have faith in our God that he will save us. And even if he does, he will reward us for staying true to him. See, like, I have no doubt that they felt confident because they stood together. I have no doubt that they felt the courage because they were together side by side. It wasn't like, Abednego's like saying, excuse me, king, hello, hi, how are you? I, Abednego, I'm going to refuse because I'm just not going to do it. I don't know about these other two, but I'm just not going to do it. No, there was no I in sight. There was no I at all. It was we. We are not going to bow down. See, there's something about being together in unity. Like, I can only imagine what that would look like if you're just standing there all by yourself, but having your two other friends beside you gives you that courage to face the thing that you're challenged with. Actually, here's a quick illustration, okay? So I haven't done this before, but I can only imagine riding a unicycle is probably super hard. Like this unicycle right here is probably super hard to ride. I know people do it all the time, but I can't imagine myself doing it. Most people ride a bicycle, 2 wheels, a lot easier. But when you first get started, you don't start with a bicycle. You start with a tricycle, which has 3 wheels, right? That's a lot easier. You're ripping, you're drifting around the corner as a toddler. And even some people, they start with 4 wheels. You start with 4 wheels, that's a lot easier to ride than a unicycle. And that's kind of like a friendship. That's kind of like what happened with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. See, it was a lot easier for them to face King Nebuchadnezzar because they had other people beside them. They had more than just one wheel. See, there are greater strength in we than me. There are greater strength in numbers. So as you decide, hey, who am I going to hang out with this summer? Who am I going to, be friends with? What are we going to do? What are we going to do when we hang out? Think about, do we still have the same values we had a year ago before the pandemic? Are there going to be people that are going to remind me and help me when I'm challenged, when I'm faced with temptation? Are they going to be the person that helps me through that? Or are they going to be the person that, doesn't care? Are they going to be the person that, when I'm faced with hard times with my family, When my mom is just super annoying, she's just on me over and over and over again. Are they going to be the person that's going to remind me that we should respect our mother and father? See, those are big questions that we need to ask when we are thinking about who our friends are. But I truly believe that God has friends out there for you, friends that are going to love you for who you are, that are going to help you to be a better person, and they're going to be there to help you, to give you courage in the times where you are faced with the biggest challenges ever. And that's my prayer for you. That is my prayer for you right now. Let me pray, actually. God, I thank you so much for every single person who's watching this stream. God, I thank you just how much you love us, God, how much you remind us of all the good things you have given us, God. And God, I pray that as we are faced with challenges, God, as we are faced with temptations, as we are faced with, choosing if we should either disobey you or obey you, God, I pray that we will have the courage to stand up strong against the things that come our way. God, I pray that you will put people in our lives. God, give us friends that will have our back, God, that will encourage us, remind us that that you are the best thing for us. God, thank you so much for loving us, and thank you for this time that we have here in Transit Live. In the name we pray, amen.